don't fall. That's when you know you're gonna go dry. When the rain don't fall. That's when you know you're gonna go dry. And it won't do no good to be crying out loud, babe, or Christmas sky.
Hi, welcome to Thinking Green. I'm joined today by Seanice Austin, who is the co-director for administration of Fresh New London, an organization that's been on this show quite a few times over the years. We're in our newish studio in Groton, and the exciting thing is you can actually call in tonight if you have a question or want to share an experience related to Fresh. So the phone number is 860-445-7499. So if you'd like to call in, if you have a question for Seanice, if you want to share something about Fresh New London, be my guest. It's kind of experimental, but go for it. So welcome, Seanice.
Thank you, Rana. Thank you for having me. I love coming back to your show.
Well, I like having you, and I have a feeling we'll have plenty to say after talk about in the next 55 minutes. But first, you've been on talking about a lot of different subjects, but I don't think you've been on talking about Fresh. So it's been a year or so since you took over the co-directorship of Fresh. So do you want to talk about that year and how you got there and how it's gone?
Sure, absolutely. So I have been with Fresh a little bit over a year, as you mentioned. I spent most of my career in higher ed. I spent 28 years working in higher ed for both the University of Connecticut for 23 years, and I actually started my career at Connecticut College for 5 years. I ended my time at UConn in the position of being the Director of Diversity and Inclusion for the School of Business. So I retired from UConn. I was retired for 3 years. And, family dynamics, family changes required me to look locally for an opportunity. And I saw that Fresh was still hiring for a co-director. And I put my hat in the ring, and it was a long process for hiring, which in hindsight, I understand why. Fresh has always been an organization that is very intentional about the work that it does, and finding the right candidate for the position was paramount to Fresh. And so, fully understand the process. I'm thankful that I was given the opportunity, and I really spent the past year and a half learning about Fresh. I wanted to go through a cycle of seeing how the organization runs, what their programming is, understanding values, who our relationships and partners are, because all of those things are very critical in order to be successful, not only in this role, but any position that you're taking. So now that it's been a year, I'm looking forward to continuing the great work, but also looking at ways that we can enhance and grow as an organization.
So, for me, being on the outside looking in, though not from a distance at Fresh, it seems like it's run uniquely. I mean, most certainly corporate environments don't have the same feel to them, but a lot of nonprofit environments also don't have the feel of Fresh. I don't know, to what do you attribute that?
I think the uniqueness of Fresh really comes from, we bring a lot of new ideas, fresh ideas from young people. So, and we value and see them as important, critical members of our organization. We also, although not on the payroll, we also take great input from community. And again, unlike other organizations, corporate organizations, even other nonprofits who say that they value community, and I'm sure that they do, but Fresh really takes that to a whole nother level. And so I think those are some of the things that makes Fresh unique. Fresh has also been around for 20 years, and people are always surprised about that, that they've had such long longevity, and has been able to go through the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs, different administrations, different leadership, and has still managed to hold on to its values, but to also change as the need for food justice, food security has changed. Fresh has been able to change and grow with it.
Now, one thing that seems like it's been kind of a constant is like the three buckets in Fresh. Empowering youth and growing food and connecting the community. But has it changed how we look at those three things? I noticed that, especially in terms of growing food, Fresh seems now to really emphasize the need to reclaim urban space for growing food. I'm guessing that was a very intentional thing to take on, but how do you see that? We live in New London. It's considered an urban environment, even though it's small. It's fairly small, area for the number of people who live here. So
that was very intentional, and it was a directive and a real focus of our last executive director, Alicia McAvey, where she brought Fresh from being where we brought young people, usually grade school level children, out to a farm in Waterford to teach them about growing. Alicia made the conscious decision to bring Fresh into the community and reclaiming spaces that are underutilized or not being maximized to its potential has been really important to Fresh. It's a way to give community members power, right? Power over spaces. It's also a way to allow for more open space and green space so that we're not just having a concrete jungle, so to speak, when you think about urban cities, and just having more open and green space. New London is unique in that we are along the water, so we have beautiful beaches and a beautiful waterfront, but there's more to open spaces and green spaces than the beach. And having parks and growing food sites and places where there are trees and where people can sit and enjoy that space is really, really important.
And being in the middle of a very hot summer, we really have become very aware of the fact that, where trees are, where there are green spaces are really valuable, and it's not just the beach.
Right, absolutely. And it's not just, there are so many intersectionalities when we think about the environment. So not only does it help us with our health, trees help us breathe better. So that's a basic health necessity, but also in terms of cooling homes and cooling the sidewalk and cooling spaces, trees provide that shade. Trees also helps with mental health, green spaces in general. And that has been something that has really come to light when we think about 2020 and the pandemic, and we think about when you can't go to work and people had this extra time, the need for more outdoor green space became so critical. And it's something that has not left and has actually amplified, where people saw that the need to have that outdoor space is important to their lives. And I think it opened up a lot of minds for a lot of people. And this is a shift that I'm seeing when we think about growing food. There is a shift now that really began with the pandemic, where people are wanting to have locally grown food in their backyard or in their community, so that they can know that it is fresh, it's organic, that that is real food, and they're limiting the use of pesticides, and just really getting back to basics. And I think that was something that came out of the pandemic and that we're seeing has grown exponentially since.
It's interesting when we think about, the beginning of the COVID years, some of the lessons learned were actually pretty valuable, even though,
We're getting back to basics.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they were learned easily, they weren't, but there are some things that we found out that are, ways that, it's safer to interact outdoors than indoors even now.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. And the basic needs, like I said, getting back to basics has been something that came out of the pandemic, and I think that people see that as an important component of work-life balance. So it isn't going away. And one of the things about Fresh in all of our garden and community spaces is New London is so fortunate to be so far ahead of the curve. Some cities, some communities were just learning about what to do and how to incorporate green spaces and growing food into their environment, where New London was able to hit the ground running. And that's in large part because of organizations like Fresh and the Riverside Community Garden and the Community Meal Center and all of the organizations, the pantries that we have, was really able to galvanize and come together. So that was then, but what I see now is, especially in my role with Fresh, is really utilizing what we have, this uniqueness that we have about New London, and really partnering with the leaders of the city to say, in addition to promoting the city by the sea, having a community that has locally grown produce, has community gardens. It's such a uniqueness about New London that that we should be promoting that. There are communities around the country and even around the world that makes growing food a part of their amenities, a part of a benefit for them. And I don't see New London doing that yet in the way that I would like for it to. So I think that there's some work that that I will be doing as the co-director of Fresh, and just engaging with our leaders and really, changing mindsets and views, because it's more than just growing food. It's a way of life, and I think it's a productive way of life that people would enjoy and love about the city.
Well, the building community part is really incredibly important, and I also feel it's often underappreciated. Even within our community gardens, we see gardeners who they don't necessarily run in the same social circles at all. I think at every single community garden in the city, we see a mix of people who wouldn't know each other if they weren't gardening together, and whose politics might be very different, and they might even be on opposite sides of a room in another setting. But when it comes to growing food, keeping the lawn mowed, and making sure we have the tools we have, and watering each other's beds when you go on vacation, it doesn't really matter that we wouldn't socially interact with each other if it
Well, that's the thing, because food is universal. This is what I always say, and it's a great way to bring different segments of the community together. One of the unique things that Fresh created was snack beds, and snack beds are raised beds that are placed in high traffic pedestrian parts of the city, and that are fully accessible 24 hours a day. And it amazes me that I read on the cover of magazines or in newspapers about the urban forest in Atlanta, and I say to myself, Fresh has done it first. New London did it first, where we created the availability of food for everyone. And I think those are things, again, we need to promote. Snack beds are not income-based. You don't have to qualify. You don't have to be eligible.
You don't even have to check in anywhere.
You don't have to check in with anyone. If you want to go out at 2 o'clock in the morning and pick some tomatoes, you can do so. And you're within your rights to do so. You're not trespassing. So I've been taking on a lot of marketing and promotion in terms of the snack bed, because what we realized, we're in the middle of our 5-year food justice plan, where every 5 years, Fresh does a reassessment, who we are, what we're doing, where we need to improve, what we're doing well. And one of the feedback that we got from the community regarding our snack beds is that there were a lot of people that were unsure of whether or not they could harvest from the snack bed. There was even feedback about the word harvest. You know, we use sort of these terms when you're growing food, and thinking, some people were saying they were not familiar with that. Like, what is that? So thinking about signage, promoting who can access the snack beds, which is everyone, and then just getting the word out and just simplifying our language around picking food.
Now, do you have a map of the snack beds that people can check out?
We have a map on our website of all of our snack beds. So Fresh has 7 growing sites. At every one of those sites, we have snack beds that are available. We have 3 community garden spaces, an urban farm, and then we have 3 freestanding snack beds that do not have a community garden or urban farm attached to them. And they're spread out throughout the city. Some of our most popular ones are the ones on Broad Street, Cottage Street, and then we have the snack beds at all of our community gardens, Mercer, McDonald Park, and then Ledger Street.
And they're painted in green, right?
So they're color coded. So snack beds are all painted green. Green means go. That means you can go get it. So that's how I describe it to people, and hopefully it sticks in their mind. Green means go. You can pick and harvest from that. We have beds that are designated as herb beds. So if you're looking for herbs that you want to make tea or tinctures or anything like that, we have snack beds specifically designated for herbs, and that's at all of our growing sites. And then we have vegetables as well. Our other coated beds, we have the red community beds. Red means stop, so do not harvest from those. Those belong to family members, people that are growing food for themselves or for their family. And they're very, very affordable, so if anyone listening would like to get a community garden bed for next year, it's only $20 for the year. And you have the soil, you have all the tools, you have everything you need in order to start growing. And more importantly, you have the community and a place where you can come to ask questions and garden with your neighbors and family and friends.
Now, over the past few years, it seems as though Fresh has been trying to offer more culturally appropriate foods for the very diverse populations that live in New London. So what kind of things can we look to find in those snack beds?
Yep. So again, the feedback as to what to grow comes from the community. So we focus on culturally relevant crops. So things that we're growing now is you'll always find collard greens. That has been a huge ask of the community. We're growing okra this year, and our okra has started to come in. We also have Asian basil, and then the Asian squash that we grow. Kale has also been something that we've focused on. We've also planted some of our beds in the traditional Three Sisters planting, which is a Native American way of growing food. So we planted corn, squash, and beans together. Those Three Sisters crops are very beneficial to one another. So again, we take feedback from the community on not only what to plant, but how to grow. And yeah, so we're always looking for feedback on that. And we survey the community every year. We issue out a survey to our community, and they give us feedback on what's working, what's not working, what new items they would like to see us grow.
Well, if you go to the website, we have one slide that shows you kind of what you see. It's the first slide when you go to the website, and it looks a little different from how it did in the past. I think Fresh is getting a little more revolutionary every year, which is probably what we need. But there are a few things like envision a robust, productive, equitable, and sustainable local food system. So how do you see, well, I guess the equitable and sustainable part is what strikes me, because it's long-term thinking.
Exactly. Fresh has been around for 20 years. Like I said, we celebrated our 20th anniversary in 2024. We are now at the stage, I think, as an organization where the emphasis and the focus is on changing systems, right? So we want to create new policies. Like, for example, one of our areas of focus this year is on zoning and zoning laws and regulations. When we think about who grows food, it's a very archaic way of thinking. People think traditionally people grow food in rural environments. And as I said, there's now a shift that has occurred where people in urban environments want to grow food locally. And unfortunately, the way that our zoning laws are set up in New London, there is not a specific zoning that allows for urban gardening. There are no zoning that allows for even community gardens or pantries, food pantries. And what that does is that puts us and community members in the position of asking for permission. Asking for permission when the state of Connecticut says farming, people in Connecticut have a right to farm. And if you don't have zoning laws in the city that allows people to exercise that right, you are actually doing the opposite of preventing them from being able to do so. And I don't think that is the goal of our city. I don't think the desire is to prevent people from growing food. It's just a matter of getting officials and policies changed on the books so that it's official. Because we have 7 growing sites. So the city, is a partner of ours, and they're a part of allowing us to grow. But there's the key word, allowing. And we want to get to a position where we're not allowed, we have a right to do so.
And by right versus by
permission,
permit, yes, are 2 very different ways to get things done. And in the 2017 Plan of Conservation and Development, there is a section on urban agriculture, and Alicia was the one who did a lot of the work towards authoring it, but there was no pushback. No one, was against it, but it seems as though it's not something the city has a real impetus on its own of doing. So I think so much of zoning is a little reactive. We change zoning regulations when someone wants to do something that's not really quite permitted by right or permitted by a special permit even. And they're the ones who initiate the zoning change, and they usually get it. they don't always, because sometimes what's being asked for isn't compatible with the plan of conservation and development. But that is something that's been very hard to get much, a lot of, I guess, momentum behind.
Yeah, and that's the revolutionary side of Fresh, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think of revolutionary as being contentious or being combative. I see revolutionary as being forward thinking, as being the person that is looking to change systems, right, for the good. Because typically, when there is a revolution, we think about the Revolutionary War, there are outcomes that far outweigh, the battles that took place. And when you think about it in hindsight, the thought is always that the revolution had a purpose, and it's typically a positive that comes out of the outcome. So that's what I would love to see happen, and that's what we're pushing and working for, especially when we think about, policy and local politics and all of that whole arena.
Yeah, it is frustrating to me personally that it's hard to be too forward thinking. I mean, because the way our political systems work, people are looking to look good for the next election season or for the next budget season, and getting people in leadership positions, especially, to look 5 years or 10 years or 15 or 20 years down the road it's hard to, look that far in the future when this kind of a business model, you're looking for a successful next quarter or a successful fiscal year, but not often looking for something that's going to maybe not look so good or so flashy in the short run, but will set us up for the long run.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think that's where my role with Fresh comes in at. And that was part of the reason why Fresh took the executive director position and broke it out into a co-directorship. Part of it is we have immediate needs, things that we need to do now, and because they're very pressing and these things have to get done. And sometimes those things overshadow the long-term planning that also need to get done, and the strategy that needs to be developed, and building those long-term relationships. So it was very critical, and I think it was wise of Fresh to break out those two roles, and that allows the co-directors to work on equal fronts in terms of leading the organization, but going down two very, different paths in order to achieve that.
Right, so you keep that whole sustainable forward thinking while still managing to
The day-to-day.
Yeah,
yes.
keep the organization alive.
Yes,
from day
absolutely.
to day and week to week.
Absolutely.
So do you want to talk a little bit about the programs that you have been having? I don't know if you want to start with the youth programs or the community programs,
Yep.
but I've been looking, I haven't gotten to much, but it seems like every week there's something going on.
And that is by design. So we are in our busy season right now. The growing season, summer season is our busiest time of year. But Fresh operates year-round, and that's often a surprise to many people. They think of us as just growing food. But we have 4 seasons that we work in. We have 4 youth programming. During the winter and fall programming, we focus on education. We do a lot of workshops focusing on the history of food inequality, food insecurity. We talk about, not just in the US, but around the world, so that we're educating not just our young people, but we do community workshops as well. And then during the spring, we start to gear up and we do a lot of our planting out. We focus on planting and growing seedlings. And I mean, Fresh grew over 10,000 seedlings that we then planted out in our greenhouses and in all of our beds. Fresh has its own raised beds, and that's the blue beds that you'll see around the city and in our garden spaces. And that's food that we're growing for the community. We have several different growing food programs. This year, we restarted our CSA, which is Community Supported Agriculture, and that's where members of the community pre-purchased food shares from Fresh and the food that is growing in our urban farm. And so for the next 19 weeks, they will come every week to pick up their share. And that is a revenue generating program for Fresh, as well as a way for us to serve the community. All of our programs are sliding fee scales, so we never want money and not having money to be a reason that someone is not able to participate in our program. So even our CSA, we have shares that are at the full market rate. We have half shares, and we also have sliding fee scales. So some people are paying very, very minimum, and some people are paying full price. And we appreciate not only New London, but the wider Fresh community. We have folks from Niantic, East Lyme, Groton, Waterford, Norwich, all come out to support Fresh. Another one of our programs that we do is our Backyard Gardens program. And that occurs in the winter. We start to build raised beds. So we're also teaching young people how to build and use tools and equipment. And all of that is a part of the education that we do at Fresh. And we place these raised beds at the homes of community members that want to grow in their home. And not only do we build the beds, but we also go out and we do an on-site field survey. We do a consultation with the resident, then determine the best location for the bed at their home. Then we build it. We also fill it with high quality soil. All of this with minimum cost, maybe as low as $20 for some residents. And then now they have a raised bed at their home that they can grow.
Wow. Now, do you have one of those backyard beds?
My mother did at her house 2 years ago, but we paid full price for that. I purchased that for her a few years back. But yeah, we do.
I knew that was before you had gotten it, before you joined Fresh.
I was a community member, supporter of Fresh long before I started to work for the organization.
Well, I think part of the sustainability commitment of Fresh seems to be in really taking, empowering and teaching young people to be tomorrow's leaders. And that's something that I think we don't see enough of, because, there are challenging times ahead, and, they're going to have to deal with it.
Right. Absolutely. And I think it's important that we build youth leadership, and that's really the focus of Fresh, is not only to employ young people, but to build youth leadership. And we help them to develop skills in problem solving, critical thinking, analysis, public speaking. They have opportunities to not only speak at the local city council meetings, but they also go out to Hartford and they advocate and speak to the state legislatures on different topics, whether it is relating to the budget and education. And I will say this, Mayor Passero was really worked closely with Fresh this year and encouraged us and informed us of different speaking opportunities to collaborate with the city, so that we're bringing more funding to New London. I mean, there are times when, and I shared this with the mayor, that we should and can collaborate and partner together. Because again, this is a uniqueness about New London. Not every city and town have young people that have been trained, that are knowledgeable about bills and legislation that is being passed and can advocate on the behalf of their city, and along with their political leaders. So there are times when we can join together, and then there are times when we may be on opposing spectrums. But I always say this, that New London, our political leaders should be very, very proud of our young people, whether you agree with their viewpoints or not. What we want to do is encourage young people to have a perspective. We often talk about voting as being a critical component of coming of age. You know, when you turn 18, make sure you get your voter registration card. But what we focus on at Fresh is, first and foremost, you must have a perspective. And that perspective must be based on your ability to read and understand the issues at hand and to develop a viewpoint on that. That comes before even voting, because without that, what are you voting for? And so this is what we teach young people, is really how to have a viewpoint and a perspective on a wide range of issues and topics.
Now, are there any other programs that Fresh has that you want to talk about?
Yes, so I want to talk about our youth program. Our summer youth program is our largest program that's going on right now. We hire through partnership with New London Youth Affairs. We have about 13 young people working with us this year. We normally have up to 18 or 20, but because of budget constraints, we could only afford to have 13 young people. But the great thing is these are young people that are returning to Fresh, so they've already have gone through the training on growing food, and they are just able to hit the ground running. So that's been great, and we have not lost any traction. You know, budgets are budgets, and we all have to live within our means, including nonprofits. And so, but it's going well. We have 3 rotation sites that our young people are going to each week. Every Friday, we do workshops, we do education on various topics, and so yeah, that's going really, really well. And on Thursdays, we do harvesting. And then on Saturdays, we do community events, and we do our Saturday work day, where we're in the gardens, rotating from between our 7 sites.
So, yes, and we have a slide, the community work day, every Saturday.
Every Saturday we have community work day. So if anyone in the community would like to come out and join us, there's always work to be done. So whether it is going to be we'll meet at Mercer, but the site may be at the Urban Farm, or it may be at one of our other community sites. But we wanted Mercer to be the meetup point where everyone can come together. There's a wide range of things and work that need to be done, from weeding, cleaning, harvesting, and more. So every Saturday, bring the family, right? And everyone can feel good and do some good work.
Yeah, and Mercer is kind of the hub.
Mercer is the hub. Mercer is our community hub. We have the pavilion. It's our largest community garden space. So yes, that is the hub, the meetup hub.
And also at Mercer on Saturdays, you have the Pay What You Can market.
We have
correct?
the Pay What You Can market, so that is every Saturday. So the Pay What You Can market is a balance of, it creates revenue for Fresh, but it also serves the community. And again, we have community members that pay as little as $1, and they walk away with a basket of vegetables. Or we have community members that want to donate $25. And it truly is a pay what you can market. And just think about it, being able to go to a farmer's market and pay what you can. There's no need to put something back. If you get to the end of the line and you realize, I don't quite have enough money for this, or deciding between, food for your family, you can actually get what you need at our market. And then for those who truly want to be independent, they can go to any of the snack beds and pick food themselves and harvest food there with zero cost.
That's amazing.
So there's something for everyone. There's something at all levels for everyone.
And I'm guessing that there are not many cities that have this kind of thing.
You're guessing that what?
Not many cities have this kind of thing.
Not very. I mean, we did some research, and what we found is there are about 3 places in the world that does something very similar to snack beds. There are fruit trees around, like you'll find that in cities, but to be able to have growing food, produce that's accessible to everyone, 24-hour access is very, very unique. And there aren't very many places around the world that offers that.
Now you have some events coming up over the next month. So let's talk about that, and then if we have time afterwards, we'll...
Sure. So Fresh is hired. We just brought on a new food justice educator / community organizer. And so she serves in that role. And now we have a series that's called Harvesting Community, where the 4th Thursday of every month, we have a community event. Whether it's with our community gardeners and we're doing something where we're teaching composting, or we're having a social event, and we did garden sips just last Thursday, where we showed people how they can use herbs and flowers to create summer drinks, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic, whatever that person's choice is. You can use herbs and flowers to create refreshing fragrances and refreshing drinks for the summer. So that was a fun event. Everyone loved it. Coming up, we have a DIY skincare where you can, again, use herbs to help with skincare and cleaning your skin and just health, skin health. And we're going to be partnering with Lashes by Lee in downtown New London, and working with them on doing that. And we have a whole bunch of other activities, so please go to our website, freshnewlondon.org, go to our events page, and at the bottom of our events page, if you subscribe to our events, you'll automatically get an email notification, and every time we post a new event, it will automatically pop onto your calendar. So that's a great way to keep updated right on your calendar with what's going on with Fresh.
And probably the only way to keep track. Now, the Ledyard site, I know that's a collaboration with the Community Land Trust, and a dedication is coming up.
Yes, so next Wednesday we have finally dedication to the donor of the land for that site. So that is the site that was donated to Fresh, and it is held in trust with the Community Land Trust. They own that land for us, and that is one of our community garden spaces. And what's so unique about that space is it is the only site that is purely maintained through rainwater. We do not have any city water at that site. On a heat wave like we're experiencing now, it can be very challenging. It is very challenging, but that's something unique about that site. And even with all of the weather and environmental challenges, we're able to work through that site. So we're having that dedication next week, next Wednesday.
And that was a creative use for a parcel that was donated that was too small to actually build
a house on.
And I guess there might have been the option of trying to get variance for all the setbacks, but this seems like a good use that was not really suited for building a house.
It's a really good use, and it's such a unique added bonus for that community. And the members in that community are really engaged with the garden and utilizing that space. So it's been great. It has its challenges, as I said, water being one, but we're able to work through it. And we want to celebrate receiving that site. Also, just sharing with the community is that's a way that you can give to Fresh, you know, through a legacy donation like that, where long-term you can provide that sustainability that we talked about on our website. And it's just another way that you can give back to the organization.
And you've gotten the various parcels you work, I think, by all different means, because McDonald Park also has an event coming up, and that was a site that was a city park that the city asked Fresh to develop into a community resource, if I remember correctly.
Right, and it still is a city park, and Fresh is just one of the users of that park. And so, yeah, we have our youth block party that is happening on the 16th of August. That's a Saturday. So we invite all of the community to come out. One of the great things is that Chelsea Groton Bank is one of our sponsors for the block party. They donated $1,000, and we're so thankful for them. We're going to have food trucks, we'll have giveaways. We're also partnering with the Haitian Hub in New London, and so they reached out to us because they do a back to school giveaway, backpacks and lunch bags for school-age children. So we're combining all of that. The city has been really great with giving us the event permit, and so we'll be able to close off McDonald Street, part of that street, for the block party. So we're really excited about that, and that's coming up, and we're looking for vendors. So if anyone is interested in being a vendor, having a table at that space, please reach out to Fresh. Our vendor form will be going up next week. And but if you're interested, you can reach out now. Reach out to me on our website, or you can email info@freshnewlondon.org, and we will get you the information to vendor.
Are you looking for any particular type of vendors, or just?
We're looking at a wide range. So right now we have a local woman in New London that does juicing, and she sells juices and other herbs and food options. So she's going to be one of our vendors. Hopefully, she reached out today, and we think we can offer a wide range of things. We'll be signing up. We'll have a voters registration table at the block party. But it's really about a good time and celebrating all of the hard work that our young people put in this summer. So we want to celebrate them. We'll also have the People's Budget Coalition that will also have a table at the block party. So if anyone else, again, if you're interested, you want to meet the community, Fresh really prides itself on working with the local community. This is a great event for you to table at. So.
And I'm told we have 5 minutes left. It
Yes.
might be 4 by now. So you wanted to talk about the annual garden walk that's coming up.
Yes,
next month.
so our big fundraiser for the spring is our garden walk for food justice. It's a 2-hour walking tour where we'll visit all of our different garden sites. Folks will sign up in order to participate in the garden walk. This is a fundraiser for Fresh. We also have sponsors for that, and I'll be reaching out to local businesses, banks, organizations that want to sponsor the garden walk. And this year, we're doing a 2-year sponsorship. So what you pay for your sponsorship dollars will cover for 2 years. In 2 years of the garden walk, the promotion, you'll be in the booklet for 2 years, our website, all of our social media, etc.
And are there any other ways that people can get involved in Fresh that haven't come up yet?
Yes, so we are in the middle of our 5-year food justice plan. So we're looking for folks to serve on the strategy team as we get all of the feedback from the community members back. We're looking for a core group of individuals to help take all of that information and put it together into an action plan that Fresh will move forward with for the next 5 years. So if you are interested in helping us develop what Fresh will look like in the next 5 years, please reach out, and we're looking for people to be on the strategy team. You don't need to have any previous experience. We're really looking for local community members, residents, even first timers, because your feedback, you'll bring a new, fresh insight and experience to it. So again, if you love what we do and want to be a part of that, we're looking for folks to join that committee.
And are you looking for anyone for the advisory board, or is that?
No, we are looking to round out our advisory board. We also have committees. We have a position that's called a community ambassador, and that's a person that can't really commit to monthly meetings, but loves Fresh and wants to be out there advocating and supporting Fresh. So they may organize a fundraiser at their job. They will be just an ambassador, just talking about the work that we're doing. So we're always looking for those folks too.
Yeah, and an official ambassador, because
Correct.
a lot of us should be informal ambassadors, right? Well, thank you, Seanice, for updating us. And
Thank
it
you.
sounds like it's been a whirlwind of the summer.
It has been, and we're only halfway through. You know, we still have the whole month of August to get through. So thank you, Rana, for having me on as always.
Thanks for coming on. And next week, our guest is going to be Nick Ortiz. And we're going to have a couple of shows, I think, on minor political parties and how they vary from each other and what kind of role they can play. So, you know, election season is starting, so we might start talking about election stuff.
Yes.
But this was a great break from that. And thanks for coming on. And we'll
Thank
see
you.
you all next week.
Alrighty.